Mardi Gras is a very special time that really does define the culture in New Orleans, but Mardi Gras is going to be a little different this year. We may not have parades and we may not have some of the uninhibited celebration and some of the sights and the sounds and the streets of New Orleans, but one thing that can never be canceled, and that's the spirit of Mardi Gras. I'm Scoot. One of the things that we're doing to keep the spirit of Mardi Gras alive in 2021, with so many things, so many traditions canceled, is we're thinking back on Mardi Gras past, and the memories are helping keep all of this alive. And there's so many things that are going on, like people are decorating their homes, like floats, and then floats are lined up in City Park, and people can drive by and see that. So there's a lot going on. But I want to share another memory with you, and celebrity and James Beard award-winning chef Frank Brigtsen of Brigtsen's Restaurant in Uptown New Orleans joins us. Frank, welcome.
Thank you, Scoot. Happy Carnival.
Yeah, same to you. Chef, when we talk about Mardi Gras memories, what's one of the first things that comes to your mind?
Well, I have the sweetest memories of all. When I was a young boy in grade school, all through those years, my father would rent a suite at the Monteleone Hotel on Royal Street for the whole Mardi Gras weekend. So, he had a second floor suite at the corner of Royal Street and Iberville, reserved every year. And this was, of course, in the days in the 60s when the parades came right down Royal Street. It would, come beautiful floats right there. You could touch them coming down Royal Street, heading to the Municipal Auditorium to head to their balls. And of course, Rex would be on Canal Street. So it was a wonderland of Mardi Gras. It truly was. And we would get taken out of school on Fridays and go check in and spend 5 days there. And it was the absolute best of Mardi Gras. As a kid, 10 years old, I could walk out on the street by myself, and there were sights to see from the room itself. This was, of course, in the days when you could still open a window in a hotel room.
Right, right.
So we would do a lot of sightseeing, and my father would be yelling at people and stuff. The Solaris was across the street where Mr. B's is now, and there was a kind of interesting bar a couple of doors in on Iberville called Wanda's, and they would just hang out the window all night and watch the characters go by. And
So at 10 years old, did you feel like you maybe saw some things you really weren't supposed to see?
oh yeah, oh yeah. And people, friends would come visit. Al Hurt was a family friend. He would come up there and then just, hang out and people watch. And I'm telling you, from that second floor suite, like when Comus went by, the floats were right there. You could see down,
I
there's the
remember.
guys,
Yeah, I
and
remember.
it was just magical, just magical. And those are the sweetest Mardi Gras memories of all.
I spent many times in the quarter too for Mardi Gras, and I remember those floats. They were right there. It's hard to believe. I mean, as cramped as the quarter is now, it's hard to believe that parades actually went through quarter streets, but it did happen. And I remember seeing a few things that I know I wasn't supposed to see when I was young. Frank, as a chef, I'd love to talk to you about connections between Mardi Gras and food.
Yes. And that's an interesting topic, and it comes up every year. Not so much recently, but every year a journalist from another city would call and say, what's your Mardi Gras menu? What do y'all eat during Mardi Gras and stuff? And of course, the answer is fried chicken and king cake. But uh, I think king cake is the thing, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and better, and so diverse over the past 10 years. I'm going to pick up a couple of king cakes for my staff when I finish with you here today, King Cake Friday. And but I think, for us in the restaurant, I'm not doing it this year. It's a little different. But in the past, I've done what I call a carnival menu leading up to Mardi Gras, because carnival means goodbye to meat. So I would have sort of a meat-centric menu, and then of course, starting Ash Wednesday, would go into more of a Lenten menu with more seafood. But what we're doing now and what we do every year, the weeks leading up to Mardi Gras, is our Mardi Gras, king cake bread pudding. And this is really something. This is a collaborative project between my talented sous chef, Emily Pfeiffer, and myself. So she made, now this is not bread pudding made with king cake. This is a French bread pudding. But it's flavored with cinnamon, of course, and some butter to give it kind of a brioche style. And she makes a cream cheese sauce to go with it. And then my contribution was I make what's called an Italian meringue, which is a cooked meringue. You add hot sugar syrup to the egg whites when you whip them, and it gives the meringue a very silky mouthfeel. And so we pipe the meringue on top of the bread pudding and sprinkle it with the purple, green, and gold sugars. So it's very festive and absolutely delicious.
Your cooking not only makes me salivate, but just the way you describe it. I mean, I'm hungry. I mean, my stomach is growling right now because of that, the thought of that bread pudding, king cake bread pudding. Wow, that
Yeah,
sounds
it's
good.
really great. And it's really wonderful. People have their favorite king cakes, but most people have 2 or 3 or 4, and they'll just rotate through them during the season. And I think this year more than ever, it's important to support all of our Mardi Gras artists, the king cake makers, what people are doing with house floats, giving some work to these artists that would normally be very busy this time of year. As you alluded to, New Orleans rises above whenever we're faced with anything negative. So the spirit is alive, and we have to do everything we can to promote that.
As an award-winning chef, what is your favorite king cake? I mean, are you a purist? Do you just like the basic traditional king cake that started in the beginning before all the fillings and all the other things came into play?
To some extent, today I'm going over to Kaluta's. Chef John Kaluta is a friend of mine, and I like his style of king cake, and I get the cream cheese one. And I love Haydell's as well, cream cheese. Those are the 2 that I get. I also love Randazzo's, Manny's or Nona's, or whichever it is. Kaluta's is kind of a Randazzo style, but those 2 locations, Haydell's and Kaluta's, are convenient to me, and so that's what I'm going to get. The only really different one that I really truly love is Cake Cafe does that apple and goat cheese king cake. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
Sounds
And
good.
yeah, it is. And it's definitely not traditional, but Steve, who had Cake Cafe, which closed, he's now partnered with Noka. So they are making and selling his king cakes out of Noka as a way to support Noka Culinary Arts, where I teach. And so it's a way to enjoy great king cake and do good work too. That apple goat cheese is really outstanding.
Sounds good. Chef Frank Brigtsen, thank you for being with us, and thanks for sharing the memory. It sounds like that at your restaurant and within you, you and your staff and everybody are keeping the spirit of Mardi Gras alive.
Thank you for having me, Scoot. I want to close with one statement.
Sure.
The first time I rode in a parade in my 30s, and I rode for 15 years hard, mostly with the crew of Carrollton. But my first ride, I realized I had a life-changing revelation. And that is, if we ever lose the power of the beads, we're in trouble. Because these plastic beads bring us together as a community to celebrate joy and what's good in life. So we cannot ever lose the power of the beads. Happy Mardi Gras, everyone.
That's a really, really good point, and very happy Mardi Gras, Chef.
All the best.